Scott, are you completely aware of what today's conversation is going to be about before I go on my rant about the subject?
No, nope, not really. Not really.
Oh, see?
I'm joining. I have some ideas of some slices of it, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
joining
yeah.
kind of
No,
last second, trying to
yeah.
do my part. That's about it though. But I don't know the breadth of it, and so
Uh-huh.
I'm just tapping in for a minute.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So, which is why I wanted to ask because I didn't want to catch you off guard.
Sure. Yeah.
So here is what we're planning on talking about today, and Rock 8 brought it to my attention maybe early last week because Rock has really been on a tear in terms of marketing and making that a super high priority, right? Because in my opinion, Scott, and you can agree or disagree because you're in the profession, so you've probably forgotten more than I know. But in my mind, when I think about like the success of a lot of products and services, it really hinges on marketing because you've got to create brand awareness. And it's even more critical in a small space like cryptocurrency, because if it's done properly, supported by the right analytics, you can turn a crypto into $1 billion market cap if done properly with the right strategy, motivation, and community behind it. So today's topic was really to go in detail about what you guys are planning on doing in terms of creating this drip marketing DAO, and then maybe get into some specifics on, maybe some tactics, what we can do as a community, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's the context in which we're going to talk about tonight, just to give you a little bit of a flavor.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
Right on, my friend.
Good to know.
Right on. Cool. All right, so let's do this. So let's back up. Hey, I appreciate you guys hanging in there. We're about 15 minutes tardy. Technical issues. It doesn't happen. I can't remember the last time it happened, but it does. And we'll continue to try to get Rock Ape on here and all the other speakers. But if this is your first time on, I want to say welcome. Every Wednesday, we host Twitter Spaces specifically about Drip Network and the Animal Farm. And my name is Kryptonite, aka Drip to Wealth. And I tell you this, we cover every single subject. And personally, that's important to me because, in my opinion, part of it is nurturing and guiding our community to help build trust, and then eventually help you guys create wealth. And the only way having a conversation. And that's what I like about Twitter Spaces, is that we allow our community to actually tap in. We get to hear their voices, and they get to tell us about what's going on in their life, what their strategy is, what their insights are, what questions they have. And as a community, we can talk about those things so that we can bond a bit closer and build this trust that then we can support the drip ecosystem, which eventually will turn into a big bag of money for a lot of us. All right. So here's what we're planning on doing, because Scott is the only one right now, but I'm going to help him out. And I know LD's got some thoughts on it as well. We're going to get into a conversation, what I consider to be probably one of the top 5 elements for the success of any cryptocurrency. And the order is up to you, but it definitely includes a dev, a community, tokenomics, utility, and this magical word called marketing. So we're going to get into that today. All right. So Scott, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you know the backstory. While I try to get Rock in here one more time. Drip marketing DAO. What's the backstory behind this collection of people wanting to do something like this? Is there a backstory that we're unaware of?
I don't know if there's any real big backstory. I think it's just we're aware that a lot of people in the community have these skill sets. Some people are good graphic designers. Some people can, do code, write code. Some people are marketers in their day-to-day profession and all that. So as we spend a lot of time, especially as content creators, we spend a lot of time describing what's happening, what needs to happen, what we would change if we could. So we're pretty well versed in this. I think we can all agree that there's a marketing element of it, specifically on the drip side, that's been non-existent from almost the beginning, outside of a
Mm-hmm.
small little round of advertising and marketing that was done on Forex's dime way back in the beginning, like first 3 months of drip, which most of us weren't there for, myself included. So
Yeah.
we realize that there's just a piece missing. There's an incentive missing for Forex, in my opinion. It's just not. He's got this new shiny toy in Animal Farm. It's something he actually makes money on if it does really well. It's not gate kept, so it's like, it's the favorite child for him, and I get why. So it's really up to the community to try to figure out how to fill the gaps when there is stuff, and keep everything afloat. So, in my eyes, there's kind of Forex is still in charge. If drip's drowning, it's kind of up to us to throw it as many life rafts as we can. That's not going to keep it afloat forever, because eventually Forex has to pull up with the big boat and take everybody out of the water. But with stuff
Right.
that has his sign off, like a layer 2 that he's really backed, that he's okay with, and it's going on the official site. Because all these offshoot projects are great, but they're just they're life rafts to try to plug the holes in the ship, get more utility out there, or whatever. So they certainly help, but it's not gonna be as effective as you put a full layer 2 on with additional utility or whatever. So anyway, I say that to say this: I think this was probably started up by Drip Coach, and
Okay.
he started to kind of bring some people together that knew about marketing, whatever. Kind of started to just get some opinions. Hey, what are your thoughts about this? Is this getting done the right way? And I think once that stuff's been aired out, at least from my side, he was just like, let's round a few of you guys up. Would you be interested in joining this drip marketing DAO? And then we can start to just talk about how we'd attack this. So brought us all together into a group. And then we've just been going back and forth and discussing different ways that we would attack things. And we all have kind of different point of views. Some of us would do it a specific way, some of us not. As we start to drill down into the granular sections of it, we realize that we probably are all pretty much on the same page, which is helpful. And most of what that is just omitting things from the list. Really, what it comes down to is a minimum viable product. What can we do that's really easy and simple and most effective? Because we pretty much have no budget, right? We're just kind of putting our own money in here. Might sell some NFTs to help generate some capital, but this is just us trying to bootstrap this thing to get it off the ground to really help. So we're trying to figure out, hey, what's that minimum viable product that really we can transition? What's our avatar? What's our customer look like? So if we're going out to try to get people to bring people over into the garden, who does that person look like? What's the average person in the garden area of the world? Are they 18 to 25? Are they 35 to 45? So we're trying to narrow down with some different polls and a handful of things to try to figure out income brackets and all that, because while we don't have the budget to cast the wide net, but you can't assume who your avatar is. It's a big time marketing mistake.
Scott, that's a soundbar moment, man. That's a soundbar. So anytime somebody drops what I consider a gem, we go to the soundbar, because I don't want it to go unnoticed, right? Here's where people make a lot of mistakes, and we can get into this. This is why it's going to be a really good, meaty conversation. A lot of people do throw out like this broad net, and they're thinking, I've got an audience of maybe 10 million people, and if I just get 1% of them, that would be plenty. No.
Yeah.
You need maybe 100,000 people and get 20% of that, because you're speaking to a very specific niche. Like, you've got to identify your audience first. It's probably less than 1 million people in my example, but you'll get a much bigger market share because it is your specific audience. And I think maybe that's where we've missed the opportunity, but I think it's because, to your point earlier, Drip really hasn't had a marketing budget, so nobody really focused on it. So people are throwing out the broader nets to kind of figure out what sticks. And then you use the data to back into it.
These people, they're not marketers. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So what they're looking at is, you're looking at and saying, like, Yeah, drips for everybody. Drips for the 60-year-old lady who wants to supplement their income. Drips for the 16-year-old kid that's just getting into crypto. And the truth
Right.
is, it is. But when you're
Yes.
marketing, you can't assume that everyone's your customer. It's a terrible way
Correct.
to do it and a really good way to lose a bunch of money on marketing spend. And just a terrible way to convert. The fact is if you want to access those people, you have to make separate content for 50 to 60-year-olds, separate content for 20 to 30. Like it's got to be, you got to be speaking to a different audience in every aspect you do it in. And if we had a big budget of a couple $100,000, we could go hard at it and access all those points. Problem is when you're bootstrapping it, you don't have, you're going to burn a lot of ad spend on the way to find even who your avatar is. And then you got to scale and multiply and then try some other things.
Yeah.
So that's just the stage we're in where we think we've dialed it down to a specific area of the platform, a specific generalized age range. It's a pretty big gap. Some specific interests, right? Like I don't think in this environment we're converting barely anyone.
I agree,
Less than
Scott.
1% of the people that we are converting doesn't already have a MetaMask.
Yeah.
So if we're converting people that are already interested in crypto, already in, likely have a MetaMask. We're just trying to get them across the finish line. So that really slims down. It's not for grandma who's never heard of crypto. It's not for even a 30-year-old who hasn't experimented with having a MetaMask or a Rabby or whatever it is. So we've got a real slim audience. We also have a really limited budget, and
Yeah.
for those of the people who don't know, everything's on almost every advertising in the world, a metric in the world, an area, it's on a bid system. So if you want to advertise in California in the US, you're going to be paying a higher rate. There's some areas, there's some times a day that aren't quite as expensive to advertise. So you're just paying for these advertising slots, right? No
Yeah.
different than primetime television. You want to be on primetime television when everyone's eyes on it, you're going to pay a lot. If you want to advertise at 2 o'clock in the morning on, some obscure channel, you're going to pay a lot less. So it's not really any different than that. It's all based on a bid system, including where you advertise in the world. So we've selected a sector in the world that is non-US, where the advertising will be much less expensive. But there's a balancing act there too, because while you get into areas that I guess are not as affluent, you're going to spend less to convert, but you're also going to get less incoming dollars that come into the protocol, which is also a factor. So
Yeah.
and we gotta basically measure metrics. So initially out the gate, you kind of got to go, okay. It's definitely important to convert wallets. So new wallets added to the protocol, if we can add those up, we could go, okay, that's a decent success rate. But it only tells a real small portion of the story, because while we want wallets, what we really need is dollars, right? So if one wallet comes in with $1 million, that's highly successful. If 100 wallets come in with $10 a piece, it's not as successful when you consider the offset ad spend.
Yeah.
So what we're basically doing is just we're all kind of have marketing minds. So we're dialing it down to what we can do with the least amount and what's going to be the most effective, what's not going to hurt the ecosystem, in that if we need to sell a bunch of drip to pay for the ad spend, that's not ideal. So we've tried to orchestrate it in a way that it'll make it work. And I've got some more details on exactly how we're going to do that, but I don't know if I feel comfortable sharing them unless I get like the thumbs up from Rock Ape or Drip Coach.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I'm actually going to try to keep sending these guys that. So let's do this until maybe I can work them into the conversation. Because you're right, I definitely wanted the three-headed monster on today, and if we got to back into it on a different day to get them on there, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
So let me do this, because you said a lot, Scott, man, and again, I'm telling you, I don't want any of this to fly over people's head. So can I back you up a step?
Yeah.
We know, like, brand awareness. Like, if I think about brand awareness, in my mind, simply put, is to get more people to buy more of your product or service over a longer period of time. Right? That's brand awareness in my mind. I'm just going to dumb it down. And part of that is really understanding who your audience is. So to your point, I don't know if we've quite figured out who our audience is specifically for drip, as an example, right? Because we're talking about a drip marketing DAO. Like, if you were to guess, who do you think the audience is for the Drip Network?
It's a pretty wide avatar. So, there really is a lot of people that are the customer. You just have to market them to them in different ways. For instance,
Yeah,
when we look at my analytics for my channel, that 35 to 55 range are the people that watch me the most.
got
If
it.
you look at Crypto King's channel, Crypto King's audience is much younger. So it
Ah,
doesn't mean
okay.
that he's not converting, but his message converts with that age range better. My message converts with the older crowd a little bit better.
Yeah,
And so when we, in the back end, we're in some groups together, we share our analytics and stuff like that and kind of mess with each other, see who's winning. But yeah, that's part of it, is depending on the mouthpiece, you're gonna convert a different type of person. No different than, hey, if it's a great female YouTuber, they're just gonna get more females to watch them because they can identify with them. And then,
yeah,
hey, if Drip's working for her, it could work for me because I'm just like her. So you tend to gravitate toward the people who sort of think like you, or whatever.
even
Some
look like you to some degree.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah. So
absolutely.
that's natural.
Hmm.
And
Plus, the
so the
age
age
range
range,
feels about right. Like plus or
yeah,
minus 10 years in either direction also feels about right too. You know?
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
think if we can get, there's so much opportunity in Drip, and I wish that some of us could pull the levers as far as getting the UI done, getting some other things done, because it's just hard to send. It's hard to send an old timer to a site that looks like it was just, the super old school, like the General Drip site. They want to
yeah,
feel, they want to feel like if they just jumped off Charles Schwab and they're jumping over here, it's not that much of a transition. You're just explaining, hey, over here you're doing it with US dollars, over here you're going to do it with BNB. And now that they understand that enough to make the transition. If you take them out to a completely different looking world, a different sounding world, it operates completely different. It's just too many hurdles to get someone's mind over, and they'd rather wait and sit on the sidelines. And then
yeah,
they'll get in when Drip's $150 and had been going up for 6 months straight. You know what I mean? They're going to wait until the proof is there. So it's a double-edged sword now, because we've let the Drip price go down so far that in order to really grab any of these people's attention, we need a trend reversal in the chart to see
yeah,
that start
yeah,
climbing. Look at it for the last month and go, oh, this is on a serious rebound. As soon as
yeah,
that happens, like when Triple D launches, we'll see that, and then we'll have a lot easier ability to market. So I
yeah.
would say, who our avatar is it's still a pretty wide net, so we
Hmm.
advertise to them different. But yeah, it's probably anywhere from 25 to 55. Somewhere roughly in that range is probably the core component. More males than females, probably a 80-20 split.
Yeah,
Uh, it's generally speaking, I think the thing about Drip is for the most part, the income brackets are lower. I think a lot of people are looking to generate some income from this, so they can move into the animal farm or whatever it is. So I think income brackets aren't on the high end; they're in the middle class, lower middle class is probably the general. There's obviously a lot of exceptions. There's definitely some big whales that have come in and gone hard, but in many cases, a lot of folks are like, making it, but not feeling like they're not investing, and then if they need to retire, they're going to have to keep working or whatever. I think for a lot of those folks, they sit in that bucket and they go, okay, maybe drip is an avenue to help me out of that hole.
yeah. I totally agree there. And that's what's really cool about it. That's why, to your point, it's so important because, in my opinion, Scott, there's probably a lot more of those people, right? If you think about the statistics around income and the fact that so many people are a couple of paychecks from going bankrupt. And I read something that was kind of staggering, which was they said maybe 43% of Americans can cover up to $1,000 of an emergency.
Yeah.
43. So to your point, there's probably a much broader group of people that if they were made aware of the opportunity within the Drip network, it will be something they'll be interested in. And then from there, once we get them in, then it's the nurturing and then the converting eventually. But all of that has to do with the utility that's on the horizon. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this, Scott, because here's what I just want to get this one out the way, so that there's no confusion. But I love the idea behind it. When we say something like the Drip Marketing DAO, some may think that that is something issued by like the dev and the team. So Forex Shark and Ray, as an example, right? And I would say, I don't think this has been commissioned by either one of those guys. And I just want to be clear on that point, which is totally fine, because what we're really saying is, we've said this many times before, is that Drip is a community driven product.
Yep.
And everyone should have every right to market and support based on their passion, desire, and skill set. And as long as it supports and doesn't hurt the ecosystem, you should be allowed to do that. So I just want to be clear, right? That it's not commissioned by either one of those guys. You are simply taking the initiative, you, Rock, and Coach, to drive marketing as a priority for our ecosystem.
Correct. So this is not sanctioned by Forex or the official team or Ray. And, you know, we don't want it to be necessarily, because that comes with additional red tape. We're seeing that kind of with DDD. Granted, you know, to Forex's point, like there's some things that needed to get fixed, so it would have got launched before those were fixed. So the other, you know, to the teams and the DAO that put it together, to their point, Josh and everybody, you know, something's better than nothing. So it's kind of a split between. In our case, there's not really this isn't like anything going up on an official site or like an offshoot. This is just driving eyes. So for us, like we don't have that same issue as they do. Like in a lot of cases, like for instance, Triple D, like it was a good idea to try to get Forex's blessing because they want to integrate it. They want it to be like the full layer 2, you know, which is what ended up is going to happen. So in our case, we're not adding anything. It's not our own protocol. We're not, you know, any of that type of stuff. We're driving more eyes into the system, and we're going to use, you know, any referral bonuses or anything like that to just pump back in to utilize as the ad spend. So hopefully we can get the conversions good enough to where we're just breaking even and constantly growing the system. You know, if we make Drip, we'll burn Drip. We've got some ideas on how to do that. I won't share the sauce quite yet because it's not fully baked, but that's the idea. So yeah, it's not an official team thing. It's just, you know, a couple outside parties, you know, just a few of us who are going to get together, put our marketing minds together and see what we can do. Like if we had a budget, we could do a lot, but since we have pretty much no budget, we're just we're going to see if we can piece this thing together, drive a little bit of traffic, prove a proof of concept that it's stuff will work, and then we'll start to scale. And if it works great, it'll be fantastic for all of us because we'll all make money because we all have drip bags.
Right.
And, you know, and if it doesn't, we'll learn a lot along the way.
Man, soundbar. Come on, man. Soundbar. Look, Scott, I love the aspect that it is not officially commissioned, right? Not saying that anyone is going rogue. I just keep saying, man, if we're going to consider ourselves the best community in DeFi, and clearly that is subjective as hell, but if we're saying that's who we are, then what does that really translate into? And that means people have to get involved. You have to leverage your strengths, both professionally, artistically, financially, whatever your strength is, find a way to get involved. And that means driving community-specific projects without the blessing from the team up above. And again, no one's going rogue. We're just putting our brick in. So I love that aspect. And here's the other piece, without me being long-winded. We can move so much faster if we don't have to cut through all that red tape. That's all I'm saying. We can move so much faster. You know what I mean? So much faster.
That's the name of the game. Yep.
So much faster. Drip Coach, I just want to make sure you can hear me because I've been trying to get Rock on and somehow you popped on. Drip Coach, can you hear me?
I think Rock's on too.
Yes, sir. Can hear you loud and clear. I was in the middle of a run, so I didn't want to have that breathing in the background.
Welcome back, brother. I appreciate it. You are always working out, my friend. That's love.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Scott, for holding down the fort.
All right, so let's do this because again, Scott, man, I could tell you live and breathe marketing because there's a bunch of stuff that I wanted to mention and bring up, and you've already brought them up. So same thing. I just want to kind of back it up because I want to make sure people understand what you guys are thinking about doing. So each time I hear you, you're really talking about your small group of people. So the three-headed monster right now that I'm aware of, it is you, Scott the Investor, Rock 8, and then Drip Coach. and you guys have some concepts, some ideas. You guys are going to run up the flagpole and kind of figure out what sticks. But I kind of keep hearing that it's really your money, right? And here's what I'm going to ask you. Are you guys thinking of a framework where just the three of you guys come up with these concepts, play it out through the community with your own coin and kind of figure out what sticks? Or will there be an opportunity for you guys again to create a concept and then ask the community to kind of get involved through participation and maybe even investing?
Yeah, that's definitely the idea. So also we gotta throw Big Rob's name in the mix. Big Rob's
Okay.
jumping in and helping with the ideas and everything. He's a little tied up in real life to spend a lot of time on it, but he's definitely in on the ideas and sharing concepts and stuff.
And his name is it Big Rob Radio, or is it just
Big Rob Radio? Yep.
Okay, it is Big Rob Radio. Okay,
Yep.
Perfect. All right,
Yep.
so we got the four-headed monster, right?
Yeah,
on.
so he's in there, and then I'm sure we'll bring some other minds in to help make sense of it. And the idea is, of course, we're going to put in a little money of our own, but definitely, I think the only way that we can really make it work is to offer up an avenue for community members to invest, in it. And as soon as we get it, in my eyes, and I'll let Coach, talk about what his view is here. But to me, as soon as we get it up to a certain level, it should support itself. So the money that's incoming from the raise in asset prices and the user adoption should offset the ad spend. And so the thing will just be working for us and benefit us all in the end.
I love that. Soundbar. Yeah. Coach, are you still there? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Did you hear the question? I want to make sure in between your breathing patterns you picked up what the question was.
Yeah, for sure. So it's definitely going to be 100% community kind of supported, because it doesn't work without it, right? So
yes,
the way I integrated this, or like I told Rock and told Scott in the group, like Rock dropped the alpha in the Twitter space with me and you, and he just popped that idea.
Yeah.
My thing, that, not tooting my horn, but what I do best is take things and run with it and execute. I don't like to sit still. I learned a long time ago that you get farther, the more mistakes you're willing to make, right? So failure is the most information data-rich stream you can tap into, but most people get paralyzed by analysis paralysis. So Rock just dropped the idea. I hit him up after that Twitter space. I was like, let's fucking get this thing started. I told Scott, I was like, hey, Scott, I'm throwing you into this group. You into this? He's like, yeah, sure. What is this about? Whatever, right? So throw them all into a group that same day. And then Big Rob jumped in as well.
Yeah.
And then the goal was take Rock's idea and then, turn this into something that's community supported. But the big thing is that we need to have people in charge making decisions that have the skill set to execute. Not everybody has a voice in the regards of, I think this is better. It's like, no, shut up. You don't work in this area. We put the people in charge that know what they're doing, like Scott, been doing this professionally for huge companies, pulling in millions of dollars. He and Rock will kind of have the say-so. The community has the say-so in regards to they can participate, they can invest in all that. But if you don't have the skill set, get the hell out the way.
On. I love it. Right. And not trying to be insensitive, but everyone's got to stay in their lane and be best at it.
Exactly.
Yes, be best at it.
Right. And it's what you mentioned earlier, like the community getting behind and supporting it from the different areas of things that they can do. So I 100% support the going rogue idea, because that's what makes communities actually grow. When you had tribes, each person, you had a shoemaker, a fucking candlestick maker, a baker. They all did the things they were good at, and you brought the tribe together, and the tribe and the community scaled, right? That's not going rogue. That's working in your area of expertise to leverage the entire community. Right. So what we've been doing before is we were scared in crypto. It was like, oh, we need devs. It's like, no, now all the resources are out there. Tap into those individual areas, get those people to support your idea, prove to the community that you're going to support them, and then the whole project benefits.
Right. And our community is so massive. So we should have a huge pool of talent to draft from. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you guys are going to go through some forms of qualifications to make certain that the person is a good fit for the product, just not randomly selecting people. But what's your background, your professional background? Like, where have you added value? What's your idea? How would you implement that? Do you have the resources to kind of pull it off? Right? Because again, we just don't want a whole bunch of Indians. We really want some chiefs now to kind of lead the drip ecosystem in a much better place at a much faster rate. right? That's what we're looking for.
And
Exactly.
I'll jump in here. I'll say in marketing, which is kind of interesting. I'm trying not to throw shade at anybody here, but marketing, it's pretty easy to figure out who those
Yeah.
people are. It takes one conversation with coach to talk about funnel flow, of how to get people from the top of your funnel to the bottom of your funnel and what that looks like. And you just a basic order of operations to realize the person understands it. And in some of the scenarios that have happened with this ecosystem in the past, it's been clear that those folks did not understand the marketing process, the marketing funnel of how to get someone converted, and when you spend ad dollars and when it's not ready and all that. So that's been apparent. And quickly we jumped in a marketing DAO group, and within a few minutes we were already 20 messages deep and had the dialed in, understood the layers, the direction we all go. So it's pretty easy to tell in marketing, like who knows talking about and who doesn't, because you just wouldn't understand it unless you at least been through a portion of it. So I will say that the conversations that we've had have been easy. I mean, we all agree on the basic marketing concepts. We disagree a couple of things, and we just sort down. Most of it's just filtering it down a little more granular, so we can cast a slightly smaller net, just so we can be efficient with budget. But outside of that, I mean, it's an easy conversation to have.
Yeah, I deal with that all the time, Scott, in a different industry, but the widget's slightly different in my trade because I'm in construction. I say it all the time when I interview someone for a job, and I would ask them pretty quickly, what are you really good at? And someone would say everything, and that's probably the worst response ever. Right? Does that make sense? Right? Sure. It's the worst response ever, because if you're in a trade, I want you to tell me the one thing that you're really good at, and maybe the second thing, because I would tell everyone that if you decided to paint your house, everyone believes that they can paint their house, right? You just throw some paint on the wall, but they don't understand that there's a process and a technique in which you can do it to make it efficient and save you time and money, right? A professional painter can paint your house in a day. You could probably do it yourself in about 3 days. We want to be efficient. And how do we do that? We get the best people, the most qualified people that specialize in that area, because we can scale, we can be efficient. And they probably are. Here's the other thing that I realized, which is not brought up yet, is the networking aspect, because we really don't know who these professionals are connected to. So now they start bringing other people into our tribe, and now we start scaling other areas that were opportunities within our ecosystem. And all of this stuff is being done by the community. So it allows the developer to develop. What a concept, right? Versus asking the developer to market and be public relations and then be human resources and all these other things to kind of manage people's emotions and expectations. No, you focus on what you do best, and that's develop. We've got a team of people who can create some marketing campaigns for you. We'll do that. That's what I love about the idea.
That's been a major pain point, I feel like, for the ecosystem, and it's a major pain point for a lot of small businesses. The visionary gets it started. That's the beginning, and everyone kind of comes on board, but they have a really tough time releasing certain aspects of their job because they truly don't want to believe that they're not great at everything. But when the business starts to scale, they got to realize, like, I just need to be the visionary and I need to lead. And here's the couple categories that I need to work on. And then I got to hire a trusted chief operating officer to handle those areas and another person, project manager, to handle these areas. So eventually you just got to realize, like, I'm okay at all these things. I can't do them all at once, or I'm even worse. But I'm really good at these 2 or 3 things. So that's going to be my area of expertise, and I'm going to bring in other people and leverage other people to, to maximize. Otherwise, you never grow. And when we were a community of 5,000 people, I think Forex could do everything. Now we're 100,000 people, something in that range. There's no chance that if you've got 100,000 customers that you're pulling all the levers. You have to release the reins to be effective. And if you don't have a background in marketing, don't try to be the marketer. If you're the visionary, be the visionary. And, drive the ideas, utilize your devs, leverage your dev teams to make what's in your head come to fruition. So that's it. I mean, I just think we need to evolve as a organization, if you will, we got to evolve. Forex needs to do what he does best, and then everyone else that can kind of step up and at least be accepted into the, I don't know, maybe not the inner circle, but at least the outer circle. Then that'll certainly help drive this thing
I
forward.
agree. And to your point, let's stay right there for a sec. And I had this down as a thought. I said, again, the tribe is driving this initiative, which is fantastic, right? And I know for a fact as well, if everyone is primarily focused on the health and benefit of the drip ecosystem, I don't care what level you're at. Once you guys develop this marketing campaign and it hits, I would imagine that you guys would be open to working with the dev and the team to figure out how we can partner and scale this thing, right? We're just simply saying, we're just going to get started. That's all. We're just going to get started.
Yep. I'm not sure about that.
All right, good. Oh, okay, good. Now, again, Coach, you should know this about me. I'm putting all the questions out there because I really don't know what the expectations are. So you can elaborate on that part. You know what I mean? Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great idea. But again, nothing against Forex and Scott was mentioning kind of some of this stuff I've covered on my channel, the personality and whatnot. There's an area he is great at. And if you read Gary V's 12 and a half, I think it is, he's talking about soft skills.
Yeah.
And I haven't interviewed Forex. I don't know, but I had some of these questions when I was going to interview him. And I just think based on his early entrepreneurial background, he does not have the managerial soft skills to do something at this scale because he never had to work in these industries.
Yeah.
He was, an entrepreneur, then a trader, all this stuff, worked in the grocery store a little bit, but pretty much been independent lone wolf. So that's great for a visionary. But in regards to us trying to go and collaborate, that would just get red tape, just like in the military. Sometimes you got to ask forgiveness and permission. And there's things
1000%.
that need to be executed immediately without the oversight of everybody else giving their opinion, because the boots on the ground have the information and the intel right there in that moment. We don't have time to send a sit rep all the way up the chain, wait for somebody on a different timeline to get back to us to make an execution. Crypto moves immediately, right?
Yeah.
So personally, I would not be open to trying to work with them. I'd rather it work independent, and then we just prove that our proof of concept works and the community gets behind it and everybody eats. That's the best way.
I love it. I love it. Scott, anything you want to add there? You on board with that? I mean, I love it.
Yeah, I'm on board with it 100%. And Coach and I have had several conversations about this.
Okay.
That's basically just the way we're going to get stuff done. Because if you need to get something done, you really have to attack it right away. And if you're dealing with someone who's the decision maker that has 50 other things going on, things don't move that fast because they're over here trying to have meetings with this entity, or they're trying to approve this new thing or whatever. You're just down the list, 30 down the list, and you're going to wait. And then you lose all the momentum, which we have seen happen over and over and over again in the drip ecosystem. All of a sudden, we start to get some momentum. It's looking really good for like a week or two, and then nothing happens. Everything fizzles out. We drop down to a new low, and then it happens over and over and over again. And a lot of that is just because it's bottlenecked. You can't, the organization is too big. You can't run everything through Forex. If you do, it's doomed to fail. And that is not a Forex thing. That is true for basically every business.
1,000%.
That's why when you grow a big company, you've got your CEO, your C-suite guys, then you've got your VPs, then you've got your directors. All these guys are just taking relative marching orders, and what the director's doing isn't getting approved by the CEO. His VP's just giving him the thumbs up, and in most cases, he's giving him free reign to do anything within the range. Like, hey, just don't do anything crazy. I trust you. And that's what we don't have, is like a big team trust. So we got to do it ourselves. Plus, I mean, I don't know. It's Forex's personality. He is the lone wolf. He doesn't necessarily play well with others. So you've seen countless devs get fired. You've seen countless marketing teams get fired. You've seen him have issues with BB. You've seen him, he butts heads with the people he works with. So if you put yourself into that sphere, you have to be aware that he's going to want it exactly his way. Yeah. And, whether it's in marketing or whatever it is, if you're going to run anything from Forex, he's going to want it done exactly his way. And sometimes that can be a major bottleneck, and it has been with drip.
Yeah, that's fair too. I understand it. I hope everyone is mature enough to distinguish the difference between, what you're saying and maybe someone who's thinking something quite the opposite. It's
Straight up,
really is all about
Forex is a
trust.
visionary,
Yeah.
and I could never do what he does. And Coach could never do what he does. He comes up with some crazy cool concepts, and able to bring them to fruition. But on the same account, he may never be the best marketer. He may not have soft skills because he doesn't have those reps. I managed people for 2 decades, so I understand how certain people need to be talked to in a certain way and certain people don't. You want to micromanage some people and not others. Like it's a real balancing act. So if you don't have those human to human soft skills, you're not all of a sudden going to be a great CEO with a team of 12 and everyone loves you. You're going to have a lot of pain points, which is what we've seen over and over again. So, and it's no knock on him. If you don't get the opportunity to develop those skills by having all those roles on your way up to where you got now, you never got the skills. It's like trying to get somebody to water ski who's never been in the water before and saying, well, they're a really good athlete. It doesn't mean they're going to be good at everything. If you haven't had it, you're not going to be skilled in that area.
I agree. And I appreciate you guys saying that. So that's good, because that was something I wanted to ask just to get clarification. I thought the opposite, but I understand why you guys are saying, no, we prefer not to, right? Because I was thinking, and here's why, Scott and Coach, you guys can maybe address this one particular point. There's something to be said about the blessing from higher ups, right? Because now you really get the support of the entire community because it came from the leadership team. So now everyone's going to trust it. And I would say, yeah, I get that argument, especially in a traditional sense. Whenever you want to have impact on a new initiative, you bring in the CEO or the chairman and they start the conversation. So anything you say after them will be supported. So that aspect, I totally understand, right? And then there's the other piece, which you guys have clearly articulated, and I fully support. It's very simply, he's got other things he should be responsible for, and that is developing and working within his team. There's opportunity around soft skills, and our goal is to leverage our strength in marketing and scale this thing rapidly. And we feel like we can do that because we have the expertise and great intentions to support this ecosystem. So we're just going to fly rogue and just get it done. So I got it.
Yeah. I would add one thing to that. It's what you
Can you guys still hear Coach? Give me a thumbs up. Mo, NYC.
Nope.
I didn't hear him either. Yeah. Coach, can you hear me? Yeah. Coach, we cannot hear you. Do me a favor. Either walk back to where you were or disconnect and come back on if you can still hear me. One more time, Coach. Yeah, because I can hear you stop talking. Coach, can you hear us? Let me send him a DM. 1 second, guys.
He's probably 2 minutes into his perfectly crafted point. Doesn't realize we can't hear him.
He blocked everybody out. He's just going. All right. Can't hear you.
Hello.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah, we missed everything you said, Coach. Everything you said.
I walked under a dead spot.
Okay. That explains it.
So what I was saying is I agree exactly with what you're saying in regards to the CEO, the blessing, and the leadership and all that stuff. However, I would hypothesize that we're actually at a changing of the guard with this crypto space. And again, listen to people far smarter than me, so this is not something I'm articulating, but Metcalfe's law and social network adoption is what cryptocurrency is about. So we built a monetary network on top of a social media platform, basically. So in that regard, I think that you no longer need to have a figurehead with a blessing, because we have actual proof of concept of this in crypto, where tons of projects have been left to the wayside by devs, have been scammed, have been literally rug pulled, and the community rallies it back from the dead without a central figurehead. So that's the actual strength of crypto that people are missing. They're tapping into this I can get rich quick. It's no. What this allows you to do is have direct connection to other people across the globe and create a decentralized, robust network, that's Bitcoin, that everyone benefits from without anyone to mitigate that red tape or to cause issues or whatever, any bottlenecks or choke points, because everybody has equal access, so to speak, to the next person. So
Yeah.
I think in this regard, since Drip literally is supposed to be community-led project and it's an immutable contract, that's the perfect example of, hey, he built this, he left it out there, now you decide what you want to do with it. Just like BNB Miner, for example. So if someone wants to build something for it, and then you see on the back end that all the contracts point directly to that thing, you do not need anybody's blessing, because the blessing is the actual trustless environment of crypto. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And again, at your point about community is, yeah, we have this existing 30,000 to 50,000 community. What about if we grow to 150,000, 200,000, 300,000 of new people that we onboarded directly through this avenue that had absolutely nothing to do with the old guard, so to speak? So these are things that got to be brought in, because I think that's where things are moving.
I love that. No, I totally love that. I'm on board with all of that. That makes sense to me. Let me ask you guys this really quick. I'm going to give, let me see, and this is going to be dangerous because I can't get Rock on, and I'm hoping that it's a isolated issue. I like to give the community an opportunity to kind of tap into the conversation. And if they want to, we'll maybe pause for a few seconds or so for them to locate the bottom left and request to speak. And while we do that, I'm going to try one more time to get Rock on. But I want the community to be heard. So, Rock, I'm going to try you one more time. All right, community, this is for you guys. Do you have a question for Scott or Drip Coach, specifically about Drip marketing and the DAO that they're forming, and maybe their concept, ideas, and how you guys can get involved? It's an opportunity for you guys to speak. Should be bottom left corner of your phone. And again, for anybody listening, maybe for the first time, you can listen to Twitter Spaces on a laptop, but in order for you to be connected as a speaker, you have to be listening from your mobile phone. It's the only way that you can be connected as a speaker. All right. So any of my listeners, I know, Rock, this is killing me. Rock, this is horrible. Oh my God. Any of my listeners, did you guys have a question for Coach or Scott? Let's see.
I just wanted to say that you guys are the same as me. It's like, I don't want to wait. I want to get stuff done. I gotta move. I can't stay still. I gotta build. There are so many things out there that we can do, and it's cool to see you guys doing some stuff for it, for Drip as well. So, I mean, I know we're sitting in a kind of a slump right now with Drip, and it's low, and it's hard to get new people in. But I feel like with everything that's coming and all the different, community projects and DDD coming, I feel like this DAO thing could be really, really perfect timing to launch it during this, because like you guys said, we're going to have an uptrend in the price, right? So it's perfect. So if we can launch, whatever this is, I mean, we didn't really hear details, but if we can launch all of this at the exact right time, this could have a super positive effect. So that's awesome. So congrats to you guys. Your work ethics, like I said, just like mine. I know a lot of people, like Mo says, I never sleep, but I do. But yeah, congrats, guys. Way to go.
Okay, anybody else? That's it. Mo, where you at? I know you always got something to say. Let me try something too. Hold on.
Hey guys, so listen, I'm all about anything that has to do with Drip. So I missed half the conversation. Sorry about that. I was at work, but listen, I'm excited for what you guys have planned. I'm gonna re-listen to the Twitter Spaces, but I feel like we're in good hands with Scott, Coach, and whoever else is involved. I guess Rock, but he can't join. But I'm excited for it. I'm gonna re-listen, and if there's anything else, I'll let you guys know individually.
Hey, Hey, Lavelle, can you hear me?
Yep. So this is this Lavelle. This question is for Scott and Drip Coach. So with regards to like ad placement, in your opinion, do you think we're hitting the right spots? Does it make sense for Animal Farm content, drip content to be at the top of coin market cap? Does it make sense for it to be in Yahoo Finance? Are we hitting the right spots? Are we in the wrong spots? Should we be in different places with regards to the ad placement? And I'll just kind of hang back and listen.
I'm gonna leave that one for Scott. Y'all don't want to hear my opinion.
Yeah. So let's see. How do I approach this? Well, first off, especially in this environment, if it were me and it were my dollars, I would not market to a product that's not live. It just doesn't make any sense. If I see it on CoinMarketCap, I want to go play it. If if Plinko's trending, I want to go check it out. So for me, I would only market to live products. Maybe a day or two ramp up or whatever, but I think all this big marketing push of 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever is a complete waste of money, in my opinion. I've done a lot of marketing on a lot of different things, and marketing to a product that doesn't exist is generally just a great way to, unless you have a ton of budget, just a great way to lose money. The only reason you would want to do that, generally speaking, is if you're doing some sort of crowdfunding, right? Getting people excited about it, getting them, but they can put dollars in. There's a way to convert that ad spend so it offsets and you get hype about something. So in that case, like especially for some of the stuff that's upcoming with the games and Piggy Plinko and all that type of stuff, I think we're wasting advertising dollars there. The other side of the coin is Animal Farm's live. That's a product that's live. Simple funnel theory would tell you that if you take someone from an ad that hooks them, you need to get them to the next step and the next step and the next step. And your ultimate goal should be some sort of conversion. In this case, it would be buy pigs and stake them or whatever it is. If you don't have that full funnel built out, you're wasting dollars because we're sending people somewhere to the Animal Farm site and expecting them to educate themselves on an entire platform, figure out how to buy the token, figure out how to do all that stuff without like just a step-by-step tutorial that is dummy proof, right? So sending people down a funnel without guiding them, like with a horse with blinders on, exactly where you want them to go is a prime way to waste money. I will say that we actually don't know whether those are good places to place those ads or not, because how are you going to tell me what's converting or not? It might be slang. People might be like, oh, this is number one, I'm clicking on it, now I'm going here, but the product's not ready yet. So it doesn't make any sense. If it was live, you'd be able to actually know from the analytics, because I can give you my opinion, but I don't know what the analytics say. I don't know if those ads are actually getting clicked on. I don't know if those articles are actually getting read and people are trying to, move over and try to join the platform. So without knowing those analytics, I really frankly don't know. I have a hunch, but I wouldn't assume sometimes my hunches are wrong. I'm like, oh, this ad's going to slay, and it does terrible. And one I think sucks does well. So very common in marketing to have that happen. So in the end, I think it's great that we're being seen places. I think advertising to products that aren't ready yet and aren't fully live, or you at least don't have a launch date like a couple days out, is a complete waste of money. And I think that advertising toward a platform where you can't bring them down the funnel to show them exactly how to purchase. I don't understand. To me, almost everything they've done so far, and I don't know, man. Maybe they got a master plan here. But to me, I don't see what the conversion is. Because for me, in my eyes, when you're advertising a product, the conversion is a purchase. When you're sending people to something, as long as there's an email capture, the conversion could be, I want to capture the email because I'm going to market to them later. So in this scenario, what's the conversion? Is it someone actually buying the native ad, taking it? And how are you tracking that? Is any of that working? And all I can look from the outside and go, is dog's price rising? Nope, it's falling. Pig's price gets some little bounces here and there. So it's fairly stable, but it's not doing well, I would say. So I would say the conversions are so there. And then is the drip price thriving? It's not. So to me, if the native assets aren't increasing, it's not converting. That's just from the outside looking. So I guess that's my 2 cents on it.
That's very well said. And I just one thing I want to add to what Scott just said. If all these investors are going to the let's say Plinko website the day of, and they have to learn everything from scratch, it's not the right way to market to them, because now they've had 2 weeks worth of marketing, 3 weeks worth of marketing, and they'll forget in 2 weeks. Like, there's so many things that could happen in 2 weeks, they'll forget that it even existed, right? And we're trending today, it doesn't mean we're going to be trending in 2 weeks. So I feel like for example, the small little bounces we're seeing in pigs, it's probably community members buying those pigs to see if there's going to be a rally in pigs and then sell it at the top. I don't think it's new investors coming in, but that's just me. um, I feel like, just like Scott said, the way they're marketing before a product is live is just wasted money. And there has to be a better way to educate them on getting started before Plinko's live so they can start gambling right away. Otherwise, there's no like right way to do it before a product is live.
Yeah, if there's no pre-sale or no monetary transaction that can happen, or them at least putting in an email so they get the email on the day, then we're going to lose all those people. Like, it just doesn't. Our attention span's short. Time goes by fast. So if you look at something and you read an article on something, oh, this looks cool, Mo's right. Like, you forget about that a week later. You're not waiting. You're not putting it on your calendar because Piggy Plinko is going to be the number one thing and you can't wait to do it. You want to play it right then. You want to play with the toy. So our attention span isn't great enough to advertise way before and not be a big brand. Now, if Nike comes out and says, we're dropping a dope new shoe, that may stick in your head, and then they can drop hints for a while and advertise to it and get the hype come up. But they have got the advertising dollars, they've got the brand recognition. For most people out in the world, Piggy Plinko, Drip Network, Animal Farm, just another crypto platform that they are unfamiliar with. So marketing is tough enough, but if you don't have a functioning, working product, and outside of some of the games and stuff, if you don't have a chart that's at least stable, marketing is going to be even more difficult.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're competing with hundreds of new projects launching every single day, right? So you're promoting a product that doesn't have a launch date, but from now to then, people have so many other different avenues to spend their money, and by the time Plinko comes out, they have no more money left. There's so much money available in DeFi, but the way you're marketing it right now is counterintuitive, I think.
Well, and I'm not very trusting. I don't know about you guys. I'm interested because I know some of you guys are degens, but I'm not very trusting of a lot of stuff. So if I'm over on CoinMarketCap and something pops up, some new protocol, there's pretty much zero chance I'm clicking on that. I'm not going to go, just because an ad's running, I'm not going to go check out that protocol and hook up my wallet. In fact, I'm probably not.
You're still right.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I would probably never touch anything I saw on there. Maybe a token that I saw trending or something, maybe, but not likely.
Yeah, and what? Here's the funny part, because I totally agree with that, especially now when we're in the middle of a bear market. Everyone is risk off, right? Everyone is risk off. And quite frankly, with inflation, you don't have much disposable income anyway. So people are really skeptical about trying something new. That's why, in my opinion, like, the best form of marketing, just like humbly speaking, it's one of them. I'll say that, Scott, because you could probably come up with a list of 10 other ones. But in my opinion, it is like personal testimonies, right? And I'll say it jokingly, it is mouth to mouth. That's for LD, but it's really word of mouth, right? So it's really people that are
Come on, man, mouth to mouth. Mouth to mouth works way
Mouth to
better
mouth.
than word
That
of
was
mouth.
amazing.
Mouth to mouth advertising, right? Word of mouth. So in my opinion, like, especially when you're talking about investing real dollars, people are going to ask you, well, how is that asset performing for you specifically, right? And help me understand why I should get into this particular product. It's not like these banner ads, because I'm not doing that stuff either. It is coming from someone that I know and trust, right? So if it's on Scott's channel, if it's on Drip Coach channel, if it's something that Mo is covering or LD is interested in, I'm like, okay, those people I resonate with, I trust them, they've got great intentions, I may look into it, right? But if it's absent of all those things, I ain't interested, right? So I agree. That's why the marketing needs to start at home first with the community, right? Give the community something to get behind and support, and they will take it to their circle of influence and get them involved if it's something that they're really interested in. And if it hits, then that same small community is going to take it to their circle of influence and rinse and repeat.
Exactly. You brought up a good point. So I don't know how many people are like into kind of the brain and psychology and how we operate as human beings. But what you just said, that word of mouth and sharing this with somebody else, we literally only do that because it actually elevates our social status, right? So we're actually doing this from a place of selfishness and elevation in the tribe so that we can look better to other people, right? So you only refer things that you think will actually add value to the person that you're referring it to. It's like, oh shit, I'm making a lot of money. And then if they make money from it, then you look better in their eyes, right? You don't actually refer something that's a shitstorm because that ruins your social credibility with those people, unless of course you're a snake oil salesman and manipulative or whatever, right? But if you're looking at the social value and trying to climb the ladder, you're trying to rub elbows and get influence, and you do that by providing value to other people in the community and the tribe. And that's why, again, what I mentioned before, Metcalfe's law of social network adoption, that's exactly what crypto is. And even Forex mentioned this multiple times. He said people buy hype, not value, right?
Yeah.
So you have to market hype. You have to market a green chart. You have to let people fall prey to the market psychology of buying high and selling low. That's part of the learning curve. You can't save them all. You have to actually have that happen. And then over time, they get better. But that hype needs to be there because that's what you're actually going to be sharing, because that's the excited dopamine rush kind of aspect of it. And that's what gives you value in the referral sense and your social credibility within the tribe and the community. So absent of all those things, like you just said, you're going to instead go look to someone that you believe has done the work, has done the credibility, has done the value, done the research. And then you're going to say, well, that ticks these boxes. I trust that person. I've outsourced the trust and the DYOR to someone else, and now I'm going to do it. And it's all in the same thing, right? So without any of those pieces, nothing's going to take place. Nobody's going to, ape in anything by itself.
Yeah.
And here's a prime example of that too. So the reason we need that right now is because you're not going to click on an ad that goes to a platform, and that platform is just going to tell you only good things, right? You're not getting anything. When I make a video on some degen project, I'm like, listen, this is risky. You could lose your money. This is a 50-50 shot, whatever, right? So you're at least getting that both sides of the coin. When you go directly to a platform, you're not getting it. So you have to have some of that social interaction, unless you're just a full-on degen that'll jump into whatever, to at least confirm your bias, at the very least, that it could be a good opportunity. The other examples in life are different because there's back data, right? So if I try to convince all you guys right now that now is the perfect time to buy value in the real estate market, I can show you a chart and go, remember last time it crashed? What happened afterward? And you go, okay, I'm not going to miss the opportunity to buy at the bottom after those last few crashes. I'm going to buy now. I have that historical data to show you. In this case, and in many cryptos outside of Bitcoin and some of the big boys, it's fully speculative. We're just trying to sell the value of what it's going to be in the future, but there's no precedent in the past to prove that. So you have to basically have that word of mouth or mouth to mouth, as LD would say, to be successful.
I love that, mouth to mouth.
One thing I've been saying for a last little while, and I don't know if you guys believe it the same way that I do, but like I feel like in crypto, just like any other business, you're not going to target a brand new market, which I believe is what's happening right now. They're trying to get a brand new audience, brand new market, but your current community is not the happiest or not the most content with what's going on. right? So you're going to attract a brand new market to a community that's not happy. The interactions are not going to be the same, right? They're not only going to see a community that's not the happiest, because there are some people that are super happy. Some people are, just a little bit peeved off because of the way things are running. But what's going to happen is the interaction between the community with those new members are not going to be the best. And just as a general concept in business, it's going to take you so much more time to get new customers than just satisfy your current customers, right? So the way that I feel we would benefit from is to make the current investors happy, build up the charts, and then market brand new products, because at that point, the new audience that's going to join us is going to be happy with the charts, it's going to be happy with the launch product, and going to be happy with a super happy community. And that's going to foster the best environment to grow the community even larger and bigger for many, many months to go. Like I feel like this is the proper way to do it, but I don't know what you guys think.
I'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear. If you take people from an ad, drive them into a community, they go, okay, this looks cool, run a little Google search, some YouTube videos pop up, and they're negative, or keep talking about how frustrating everything is, or, hey, we've been talking about the same things for a year and we still don't have them, then people are going to sit on the sidelines and wait. But if you drive to a community where everyone's like, things are dropping as scheduled, they're looking great, charts looking good, people are going to want to jump in. So you're driving, I don't know, I feel like half the time we're putting the cart before the horse. There's some help that needs to be done, and the community is definitely doing their part. But yeah, I would agree, community sentiment right now isn't the best. And so if you drive marketing dollars into a community sentiment that's not the best, then you're just going to spin your wheels and waste a lot of money in the process, have a hard time converting people that you normally would have converted.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they go and watch a negative video, for example, and then they run and head over to the group and say, hey, what about this and this that this guy said on the YouTube video, saying how it's negative and blah, 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 and then that guy gets banned from the group, you know what I mean? Well, then that's not going to convert anyone, like you said there, so like Mo said, we need to have everyone in a happy mood in the group and making money, I feel like that's one of the most important things. Fix what you have and then bring in new people, so that when people come in, there are way more positive videos than negative. There are way more positive comments than negative. And we got to, make sure that even if the questions that come in the groups, if someone joins my group and they have a question, and although it might seem fuddy to most people, I've actually converted lots of people that I thought were fudders coming into my group by just listening and answering their questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's good stuff. That's a soundbar moment.
This is something I shared on my last video about feedback. I don't understand why crypto specifically has to be completely different to what we're used to selling in traditional retail. Crypto is just a product. It's just a product built on technology rails that is a digital good, essentially. So why is there no space to get feedback captured? Why do we not have Trustpilot reviews, Amazon reviews? Why can't we have the positive and the negative reviews? Why is it somehow that it's polarized and you only want to have positive, quote unquote, sentiment, moon boy mentality in a Telegram group? So reference what you guys were saying. Yeah, get the community happy. I don't know if it's really about getting the community happy. It's more so about the trustless transparency and having your ability to answer and ask questions. So that to me is actually what we need in crypto. It's not everybody's gonna become rich. That's not the way it works. And the chart's not gonna always be up and to the right. So what we need is just the transparency and the trustlessness, so that we can have these discussions, and then the community can get behind what they support, and then the people that aren't behind it can actually address why they think the product is no good, same way you would on any other product out there in the market. And then from that, you actually build social proofing to onboard new people and what they call your screaming fans that will support it. You could be the best music group, but not everybody's gonna like that music. Man, I live here in Cambodia, and the music they play, it's like nails on a chalkboard. And they play it like they'll pull a speaker out into the street and blast it karaoke style. And I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. And nobody complains because they've been conditioned that that's music to them, right?
Yeah.
I'm a foreigner. I can't appreciate it. Crypto should be the same way. Not everybody's gonna like it. Not everybody's gonna win, but you need to have a space where it's available to be open and addressed, basically. So I think that's actually a good segue to what we're trying to do, or at least my idea of why I ran with the idea of the marketing DAO from Rock 8, is that I want to actually create a brand new space and push this off in a different direction. I don't know if it'll end up being its own Telegram, its own socials, or whatever the case may be, community-owned socials for all of this, specific to Drip, but in my head, that's kind of the vision I have.
So play that out, Coach. Like in your mind, if you were to take it a couple of steps further, like how would it shape up? Like, broadly, we're just talking about a group of people, brain trust, coming up with marketing concepts, and we're going to track it and allow the analytics to kind of drive what we do next. Like, but in terms of like engaging the community, like how do you see it playing out?
So the vision that I had, the reason I ran off with is because crypto is so small. So we're focused on this small group of drippers, 30,000, 50,000 people. The market adoption of which this is going to take place is monstrous. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity to actually plant a new seed, kind of what Rock 8 said, in a different place and start that by itself. So bringing in these new people, they don't need to be injected into the existing polarized Telegram. You can actually bring them somewhere else, different channels, different Facebook groups, whatever the case may be, onboard them properly, hand-holding through the community supported, and engaged. And then, it's kind of no different than we have right now. You have different YouTubers with their own Telegram groups, and they literally do that exact same thing. So it's nothing different. It's not saying, oh my God, we're shitting on the community and moving away. No, it's doing exactly what we have, but at a larger scale. So these people come through, like Scott said, they have a funnel, they see different ads, they get talked to, get walked through, whatever the case may be, and they start to grow because why? Their experience is positive. So they support the ecosystem, and then as a whole, as that continues to grow, that will in turn address the problem that Mo was talking about, having the old community happy. Because if we're able to bring on 30,000 new people from a completely different area, well, now we've doubled the Drip investors, and obviously everybody's happy because the chart's going up. And then we continue to grow that, and you get feedback from those new people of questions they want, having AMAs for that community, addressing questions, weekly, updates, all these things that are not currently being done because there's so many moving pieces, right? Any company that gets big, they start with one product, and they take that one product and launch the hell out of it, and then they offer something else. Apple didn't have all of the revenue streams they have now. They had one thing, and they did one thing really, really well. Every company does that. The good ones. The ones that don't, you confuse, you lose. You don't know what they stand for. So Drip should be the same way, and that's the way I see this, is that we focus solely on Drip, onboarding people through the Drip ecosystem, marketing the hell out of that product, and then creating the socials, engaging with that community, growing all that, then migrating into other areas of the platform if necessary. But I don't even think that'd be necessary. Just focus solely on Drip. Like I said, we're so early. There's so many people we can adopt.
Got it. Now let me ask you guys this. Scott, was that you? Who's that? LD?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I am all about going into a new group, as bad as it is to say, but like definitely bring them to a different group. It could completely change their outlook, and their ideas can get answered, their questions can get answered. Everything that's a great idea. Have like Rockip said there, the same seed but planted in a different place and bring everyone over there. So that's really great job.
Right on. No, I'm loving this. Let me ask you guys this really quick then. So as we think about this vision, have you guys identified a tactic that you want to try and are willing to share with the community?
I'm willing to share, but it sounds like everybody else in crypto is all about this, keep your cards close to your chest, which I don't get that bullshit. I've always adopted the collaboration over competition. I personally hate that. It bothers the hell out of me. Crypto is a transparent blockchain, so you can see what the people are doing. You don't know the person, but you can see what's moving where. Why are we trying to go back into the shadows that got us in the problem in the first place? I don't get it. I personally can't fucking stand it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna leave that up to you guys, but you know me, I want to ask. Closed mouths do not get fed. So if there is a teaser and something to get the community excited about and to look forward to, why not share with them, right? Because again, it's all about building momentum. So if it's alpha, if it's a small leak, let's talk about it.
Leaving this one to you, Coach.
If you leave it to me, I'll let the cat out the bag. Like I said.
Shit. I mean, what we waiting for? Let's go, Coach. Let's go, Coach.
All right. Yeah, I'll keep it simple. I won't get too much detail. So basically, it was the idea that Rock pitched, and I live out here in Asia, so he had done some research on his own platform, and you'll find that in Asia, the ad spend is much, much cheaper, and they're actually more engaged on more platforms, certain platforms than others. So the seed of the idea for now is to basically create, which we already did, a multi-sig wallet, create a garden, and then kind of fund that garden, and then get new investors as well as the existing communities to build a garden under it for referrals, split the BUSD drip LP, burn the drip, and then use the BUSD as the marketing dollars for the campaign into a Southeast Asian kind of niche, basically.
That is interesting. That could be pretty scary. Now, again, that's more volume, right? In terms of the number of people that we could potentially reach, volume. How is their earning potential there? Are these the people that we're saying that we can probably get the numbers there, but much smaller wallets, and it's really just about the exposure and getting started?
Yeah, it's a numbers game, so you'll be able to reach a lot more people. Like I scaled my business and got a lot of eyeballs and stuff, and and as a collective, they're also much more communal. So the West is more polarized, and they won't click on stuff unless it has so many likes or whatever. Man, Asians will share everything in a heartbeat. They're, as a community, they meet together after work, everything. So it's easier to grow. So we may not have the volume in regards to capital from one person, but there's also some very rich people. Like I'm actually training at my buddy's house right now. He's got a fucking mansion. So there's a big wealth gap. And if we get enough of those people on board, then it can make a huge impact. And that's just one demographic, right? So, I mean, you got the bulk of the world population is over here. And if we're looking at crypto adoption, it's going to come from them anyway. Right now, it's just US centric. But if you add up all the money that's available across the ocean, it just dwarfs what we have in the US. So long term, this is the play.
Now, let me ask you this, Coach. Where are these people located? Not geographically, but where are they located? Are they on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok? Like, where are they? Where are you going to meet them at?
Yeah, so it depends on the region. The region we're going with right now is going to be Facebook, but each country kind of uses certain social media platforms more than others. So my experience here, specifically in Cambodia, really big on Facebook. There is hardly any of these people have an actual website. They all have Facebook, and that's it. And the audience we're picking is also Facebook centered. It's not here in Cambodia because we needed someone that actually speaks English as well to make the ad conversion easier. But they're Facebook centric as well.
Oh, wow. I wonder how many people in our community right now have a facing on Facebook. I feel like we are heavy YouTube, Twitter.
Exactly.
Maybe TikTok. Okay, good. So now that's a completely different platform that we'll have exposure to. Okay, that works for me. Now,
and that's all about that. Alex, go ahead.
No. You can finish your thought.
I said that's all about the avatar. So that was something me and Scott and Rock discussed, and I gave kind of the seed of the idea of the avatar that I think would be the easiest low-hanging fruit. And once you identify that, then you know exactly where to meet them based off of their demographics, their age, what they do as a job, these kind of demographic data. So it's like, okay, we know that they're here, and this is who we're targeting. So here's how we're going to go about it.
Love it. Now, let me ask you a silly question. How are we using avatar? Like, are we going to create an image, or are we just saying the avatar's characteristics of our target audience? Like, how are we using avatar?
Yeah,
And
avatar in the marketing sense. So it's their
yeah,
characteristics.
Okay. Love that. Love that. I mean, I'm not opposed to an avatar visually either, right? Because then again, it goes back to what we were saying before. People tend to identify with, someone that looks like them, maybe a similar story, profession, gender, and avatars conceptually could look like the target audience as well, going forward. But I understand. I just wanted to draw a distinction between how we were using avatar in this conversation. Okay, got it. All right, so let me do this because we're right at about 6:30. I don't know how much time you guys have. I try to keep it between 60 minutes and an hour and a half. They used to go 2 hours long, but damn, when we have great conversations, I just let it flow. So I'm gonna leave it to our speakers, and I want to respect you guys' time. So you tell me if you guys have time. I just invited Sean. Let's see if he can come through. So Scott, Coach, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys because I've got a list of other things I can cover.
Scott,
but I just want to
somebody
make
told
sure
me
that
you
we.
were fucking on a 14-year-old girl.
Oh, so we got an idiot on there? That's just dumb as hell. Can you guys hear me okay?
Trolls everywhere.
everywhere.
Man, and that we take for having a listener come on. And that's really the first one, but it may not be the last one. And part of me wants to do it this way, but then it defeats the whole purpose. Like, there's a group of people that consistently support us on every single platform, Twitter Spaces, and YouTube. So you get familiar with the same faces and the people. So at one moment I thought, why don't I just invite the people that I know? But that's not being very inclusive, right? There's going to be people that are going to join Twitter Spaces for the first time and actually have a question. So it's important that we allow people an opportunity to speak. So, hey, Scott, let's move on. So let me ask you guys this again. Is there anything specific you guys wanted to cover, Coach or Scott?
Nothing too specific for me. I probably got 5 minutes left. I would say that we decided, some people may be asking why the garden. I think we decided to use the garden. It just seemed like the best play, easy to educate people on. The UI is already updated, so even move, we'll just have to make a few tweaks to the end funnel. But it already looks updated conceptually. As long as we can explain how decay works well enough, it's easy to get in. And then we've got the easy split, which is win-win, which is the BUSD can be used for marketing dollars, and then burning the drip will help the system as well. Plus, it keeps it real simple in that if we funnel everybody under one garden, technically we can. It'll be way positive in terms of decay in that in particular wallet, and we can just pull and use those for marketing dollars when it's necessary. And if we get to a point where we don't need the dollars, we can always continue to compound that and grow that bag and then utilize it when we need it for marketing dollars. So it seemed like the best mix, and I forget, it's probably Coach's idea to use that. I thought it was solid. Maybe it was Rock's. I just agreed.
Yeah. So play it back again, Scott, because I want to make sure. So what are you guys thinking about doing with the garden? I want to make sure I understand it.
Sure, the mechanism to bring people in will be to actually bring people in through the garden. So
that's what I thought I heard. Yeah. So play that through again. Yeah.
Set up a master wallet, and then people will join under that wallet. Obviously, all those referrals will roll up into the main wallet. It'll be net positive, and we can utilize those dollars for marketing and then burn the drip. So it helps the drip price. We've got the marketing for the dollars, ties up drip supply, so it's positive for the drip community. And then at that point, once they're involved in that ecosystem, we can, it's easier to teach people, transition people over to the Faucet or the animal farm if need be, but it seemed like the right mechanism.
That is so interesting. Yeah, because there's always a constant debate on if you had a couple of bucks, where would you guide people? And I've never really heard the garden as being one of the first ones. It was either the Faucet, obviously, because that's the foundation. And then maybe the animal farm, because again, that's probably in some people's minds really easy to understand. If you pick like a BUSD farm and you just kind of stake your BUSD and you earn yield. So the garden is finally getting some love. I know NYC crypto is going to love that one for sure. All right.
But I think it's a kind of a double-edged sword. So it's two different outcomes, right? So if you're educating a single person on what they should do, then there's a different approach for that. But in this, we have a very specific outcome of a marketing budget
Yeah.
without adding negative sell pressure to the ecosystem, and we need a simple way for people to get started and start to kind of see profit, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we know that the drip, triple D, and the stuff coming should technically increase the drip price, and the garden should benefit due to the leverage. So it checks all the boxes at where we're at right now, and specifically for the outcome of a marketing DAO and needing access to capital without sell pressure. So that's the reason why for this it works better.
Yeah, if you take it the other way and say, okay, let's drive everyone into a faucet, we're going to funnel everyone under that. We've only got access to a small portion of those funds every day. We literally have to sell every day to create dollars. Got to transition that from BNB over to BUSD. It's just, it doesn't seem like the cleanest metric. It creates sell pressure, which can be negative just from a sentiment. Even though it's for good things, people are seeing one wallet just continually dump every day. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
So I feel the garden is a safer place to do that. It's easier for us inside the community to understand conceptually, like, okay, perfect, I understand why you're doing the garden. BUSD, of course, goes to marketing dollars. Everything else is burning drip, which is super bullish, especially as we burn big buckets of drip. You know, you're going to see those come on that channel that shows all the drip burns and big buys and everything. So it should be helpful.
Yeah, Scott, man, and I'm going to hit you with a soundbar on that one too, bro. So here's what I love about like the wrap up of your conversation when I just asked you specifically kind of like, why did you guys head down a drip garden path versus like a faucet? Like in my mind, it is so important that we spend time explaining the benefits around a product. I feel like we spend so much time on features, right? And the technology and all that stuff kind of flies over people's heads that are not really interested in the technology. We just clearly want to understand the benefits associated with your product or service. And that's the emotional connection. Like by me investing in this specific product in this way is going to do what for me first? And then how does that benefit the health of the entire ecosystem? Like those are the things that people can have an emotional connection to versus explaining to me how a particular widget works. Like I'm sure there's a segment of the population that wants both, or maybe one who really understands and wants to lift the hood up and get behind the technology. But I feel like we need to spend way more time on the benefits versus the features, right? And I
would say if you listen to a Forex Shark AMA for 3 hours, some of the old school ones, where he really gets under the hood, it's a difference between explaining how things really work and marketing. Because the old saying goes, you don't go to the store to buy a drill, you go to the store to buy a hole. What you really want is the hole. You don't really care that that's the mechanism to do it. You just need the hole. That's really what you're paying for. It's no different than anything else. We're trying to measure what matters, which is the actual result. And yeah, people want to know in a very short time frame, okay, what is it? What's it going to do for me? What's the end outcome? And then how do I get
that's it? And
they care a little bit. They care a little bit about what's in between. They just want you to give them a thumbs up, like, this is Safu, but it's going to work for you, to a 80th percentile or whatever. And then they're in. They don't need to know how collateral rehypothecation works or how demand supply control algorithms work. They don't care. They want to know it will work. How can I get in easily? And then what can I expect in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? And marketing is explaining that to people in 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute. And so the long-winded answers of exactly how things work don't matter, because the why is what matters, not the what.
I agree. And all that stuff will be in the appendix for you, just in case you want it. But here are our first 3 to 5 pages of the benefits associated with this particular product. In the appendix, for those who care, that's where all the detail is, right? I love it. I love it. Okay, let me do this, guys. So I want to wrap it up. Let me say this, because I just want to get to this last point. The other thing is the frequency, right? Like, Have you guys thought about that? I know this is all new, but we know that we can't have a marketing campaign like once every 6 months, right? So we've got to scale up the frequency in which we launch these things and stay connected to our audience, or they forget about us and somebody else does it and then we lose somebody, right? So are you guys planning on doing this pretty consistently? I know you may not come up with timing just yet because it's all forming, but is it going to be consistent marketing, not necessarily around a specific ad, innovation, or whatever? This is consistent product branding throughout the year.
So the nice thing about marketing is once you've got a pathway nailed, you understand your avatar, you understand how to convert, what those ratios are, you leave it on. I've run campaigns for 6 months, 9 months without changing them because they're effective from a return on ad spend perspective called ROAS. So as long as these initial campaigns that we set up and the flows are profitable, we'll run them forever. So there will be scenarios where we really don't touch anything for a month.
Nice.
As things start to get fatigued, people have seen them, audiences are fatigued, maybe it's not the quite vibe, maybe we leaned heavily into the storyline that, you know, banks are collapsing, so protect your money, but that's not hot in the news anymore, so it's not getting quite as many clicks. You just evolve into what the next pain point is, and, you know, whatever that is in that certain country or demographic or worldwide, you just make some small changes to that campaign. Sometimes it's not even the video, you're just changing the ad copy, or sometimes it's the full video. So there will be iterations, but once we get it down, if we get it down in the garden, if the process works and the garden works really well, there's really no point on deviating at all, even descending. If we can pound over and over and over again and have a lot of people add and adopt and then naturally come over to the drip side, there's really no reason to break a system that's working, outside of adding some new angles and maybe trying to see if you can target that 20 to 30 range because you haven't been or whatever. But for the most part, once you get that stuff set up and running and it's successful, you're just making tweaks along the way.
Life is good. Life is good, Scott. Coach, Scott, Rock, so glad you're on our team. That's all I got to say. So glad you're on the team. And you can tell that you guys really enjoy it, right? It's something that you're passionate about, like the marketing aspect of it. And then here's the benefit is you guys have skin in the game, right? So you guys are really trying to do the best thing for the entire ecosystem because you've got a bag, and you know that once the marketing hits, because I'm already going to claim it, once the marketing concepts and the campaigns hit that you guys are thinking through and get supported by the community, everyone's going to benefit from it financially. And I know that it's going to be a snowball effect. I know for a fact more and more people are going to want to help contribute to the process. So it sounds like you guys are still framing touch points in terms of how the community can get involved. My guess is you guys will probably have a way for them to connect with you through Telegram or maybe Discord. But I just want to say I'm excited. I appreciate you guys actually taking the initiative to really focus on, again, a top 5 key performance indicator for our space, which is marketing, right? Because we've got a superior product, we've got a massive community, we've got a dev that's really focused on being the best in the business. An aspect that we have an opportunity to really focus on is the marketing. And it sounds like we've got the right people on the job. And for other people that maybe want to get involved, there'll be a way for them to connect. So Coach, Scott, and Rock, thank you again for your time. I'll give you guys anything you want to leave the audience with, and we'll just wrap up the call.
I'll finish up real quick. Basically, glad everyone joined. We had a good amount of people on here, so it's nice. I think we all care about the drip community. We got a lot of friends and family members in here that have a ton of money in it, and we want to see it be successful. And we've all sold each other on how this is going to be great if the developments keep coming. Unfortunately, they didn't come, and so we want to make sure that it's still a success story for the people that we've influenced to get in whatever areas of our lives. Some of you guys have got your parents in, or your brother, sister, friends, whatever, because the horizon looks so bright. And so I think in the end, it just comes down to the community to try to figure out how to bridge the gap that, you know, we're missing a little bit of something. So hopefully we can come together and make it happen. And if we can get the drip price up to a reasonable level, it really does mean a more stable financial future for a lot of people.
Love it. Soundbar. Coach, are you still there? Let's see if he's still there. Or
Yeah. So
okay.
yep. All good for my
Okay,
side.
perfect. All right. And man, we could not get rocked. All right, guys. So everyone that's listening, we appreciate your time. Hopefully you found so much alpha that you guys want to go out and share the Twitter spaces, because it's time for people to really get amped up about the marketing. That is a critical component of the life and sustainability of drip. And I promise you, when you focus on something as critical as marketing, the brand awareness will scale. Sometimes we are talking to each other, which is completely fine because we become resident experts in the drip network, which is fine. However, if we're looking to really talk about price appreciation and a chart that makes sense to a casual observer, we have to create some momentum, and that's going to come through marketing. So as these guys really shape and frame the drip marketing DAO, I want you guys to support them. And remember, it's small steps. It's really becoming a part of their community once they form one. If they decide to make YouTube videos and really focus on a Twitter campaign, you've got to start liking, subscribing, and following and getting people outside of our circle connected, right? Doesn't mean that they're going to commit to anything, but at least make them aware of it. And once these guys do a solid job with the support of the community of nurturing and then educating and then eventually converting, then the product and the marketing speaks for itself. But it's going to require a little bit of heavy lifting from the community, right? We just can't sit back and expect Scott and Rock and Coach to figure all of this stuff out again, right? Because then we're back in the same scenario where we're leveraging and leaning on Forex Shark and their team to do all the heavy lifting. No, it shouldn't just be a simple transfer. We've got these 3 people that want to take on this initiative, so we're just going to sit back and watch and see what happens. No, it actually takes a community, a tribe, using Coach's word, to really get behind the initiative to drive it forward. So if you take anything away from tonight's conversation, we are a tribe, we are a community, and together we're strong. So you have to get involved and get connected. All right. So with that said, Scott, Coach, Rock, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. For our listeners, as always, without you guys, we don't have a community. So I appreciate you guys coming in every single Wednesday. You know how we roll. In the meantime, I wish you all peace and prosperity. Until then, take care, everyone. All right. Lavelle!
Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? Spritz Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real-world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.